When I first opened this Islamic fiqh book, there was nothing warm and fuzzy about it. In fact, it was more like something straight out of a horror story, except the monster inside of it is very real. From pages that spell out women and children being taken as slaves, their marriages instantly annulled, female circumcision, and instructions about who can be killed in war, there's a reason Sharia law is incompatible with Western values. This wasn't Goosebumps or Are You Afraid of the Dark? This is Reliance of the Traveler. And the craziest part? This isn't made up for entertainment purposes. This is a book studied in Islamic universities around the world and given glowing reviews on respected Muslim websites. So let's sit around the fire for spooky season because tonight I'm telling tales from a 14th century law book that reads more like a book of curses. Let's get into it. Spooky season is upon us all, and to kick it off, I decided that I wanted to cover some of the creepier, spookier things in Islam. Starting now and throughout the month of October, I'm going to bring you guys a scary series where we don't sugarcoat Islam to be like a lullaby, like many Muslims do. We are going to cover stories and concepts in their raw, scary, hair-raising form. I wanted to start off with something that disturbed me early on when I became a Muslim. I happened to find this source by accident, and what was inside of it bothers me to this day. When I was a Muslim, I was simply a Muslim. I never followed a particular madhab hardcore, nor did I identify as a Sufi, Salafi, or anything like this. Despite converting with a hardcore Salafi, it never appealed to me to want that type of Islam. As you can probably guess why. Salafism is the stuff of true nightmares, especially dressing like the Grim Reaper every day. Also, Salafism is anti-anything fun in life, and I wasn't about to jump on that bandwagon. Little did I know, there was more to Islam in its 1400 years of existence besides just submitting to God. It wasn't as simple as what I learned and what was presented to me. However, I did approach the variety that Islam offers with curiosity throughout my time as a Muslim, and ultimately, I realized how all of them are the same nonsense, just packaged differently. Some are packaged in a more sinister, creepy way, as we are about to get into. Continuing to be curious for my time as a Muslim was probably one of the many reasons for the demise of my faith. With all of these different Islams I was discovering as opposed to the one that was sold to me, this deceptive marketing had me curious. Which Islam is actually true? What is the quote-unquote right way to follow and practice it? Maybe one of the sources has something that resonates with me, or maybe it doesn't. Let's find out. The butchery of purity. When I was younger, growing up in the 90s, I was really into shows like Are You Afraid of the Dark? And I also loved Goosebumps. If you're young and you don't know what that is, it's a show where a bunch of kids sit around a campfire outside and share spooky stories about urban legends, ghosts, curses, and creepy houses. Do you guys remember the spooky intro music and the creaking swing? As we all know, that stuff is fiction. It's not real. These are just stories, not real life. When I opened Reliance of the Traveler for the first time, I felt like I was reading a spooky story, but the monster is a real-life, codified into law, Islamic-style type of monster. It's like Book from Hocus Pocus, except that it's something that can become real. It's something that can actually bring to life horrible things in a society. Muslims always say FGM has absolutely nothing to do with Islam. If that's true, then why can we find it in a book that has actually been applauded as a reputable source of knowledge for Muslims? On the Seeker's Guidance website, it's given a glowing review. Someone asks a question if it's used in Islamic universities and seminaries. Listen to what they have to say.
When learning about Sharia law and Islamic jurisprudence, do most Sunni Islamic scholars and jurists worldwide study the Shafi'i fiqh book, Reliance of the Traveler in Islamic universities and seminaries?
Answer. The Reliance of the Traveler, an English translation of a highly reputable classical manual on Shafi'i fiqh, written by Sheikh Ahmad ibn Naqib al-Misri. The original Arabic work, Umda al-Salik, is widely studied throughout the Muslim world, especially in Shafi'i universities and seminaries. It isn't easy to assess how many universities, seminaries include the text in their curriculum. Still, some of the leading Shafi'i learning centers in Yemen, Indonesia, and South Africa include the text in their curriculum. Seekers Guidance has free courses on this renowned text in Arabic and English. Al-Azhar University and other ulama have authenticated the contemporary English translation by Sheikh Nuh Hamim Keller.
Al-Azhar is a well-known Islamic university in Egypt, the kind many boast about attending, Muhammad Hijab being one of them. Okay, now let's get to the really spooky part, what the text actually says. Even if I quite literally show Muslims what the book says and read it to them, they're still going to say that I am lying about FGM in Islam. Anyways, let's read what the Fiqh book says about FGM on girls. Circumcision is obligatory for both men and women. For men, it consists of removing the prepuce from the penis, and for women, removing the prepuce from the clitoris, not the clitoris itself, as some mistakenly assert. Hanbalis hold that circumcision of women is not obligatory but sunnah, while Hanafis consider it a mere courtesy to the husband. When is the last time any of us were told that chopping off the most sensitive part of our clitoris is a courtesy on our behalf? Excuse me? I actually want to continue enjoying intimacy, and if this is what's considered a courtesy to my husband, consider me divorced. Cutting the clitoris can lead to all kinds of issues from infection, long-term pain, and even the inability to reach an orgasm. I am really wondering where this courtesy part comes in because so far, this is the stuff nightmares are made of. The other creepy thing about this is that it's not limited to this specific madhab. They even say that Hanbalis and Hanafis recognize this as something within Sharia. Quick pause. If you are liking this video, click the like button and subscribe. If you want to see more of my takes on women's issues in Islam, join us on Patreon. Now back to the video. When God demands blood. Muhammad's career as a false prophet contained a lot of toxicity, negativity, death, and misery for everyone involved. Muslims will often paint jihad as only meaning some sort of struggle, such as trying to stop smoking, praying regularly, or anything really. This part is true, but jihad also has this dark, unsettling meaning to it as well, and Reliance of the Traveler is not shy to point out who jihad should be carried out against, who should be killed or spared, and what becomes of women and children who are captured. Check this out. In this section of Reliance of the Traveler, jihad is mapped out. The Caliph makes war upon Jews, Christians, and Zoroastrians, provided he has first invited them to enter Islam in faith and practice, and if they will not, then invited them to enter the social order of Islam by paying the non-Muslim poll tax, jizya, which is the significance of their paying it, not the money itself, while remaining in their ancestral religions, and the war continues until they become Muslim or else pay the non-Muslim poll tax in accordance with the word of Allah Most High. Fight those who do not believe in Allah in the last day, and forbid not what Allah and His Messenger have forbidden, who do not practice the religion of truth, being of those who have been given the book, until they pay the poll tax out of hand and are humbled. What I find interesting about this is the fact that Islam isn't considering the possibility that one day none of this will be needed. Perhaps in the generations to come, Muslims won't need to fight Christians, Jews, or polytheists. Maybe we'll all get along. Muhammad operated with a mindset that was very much in the 7th century moment. All of this hatred and talk of fighting is part of Islam back then, as well as forever. Muhammad immortalizing jihad as a part of Islam is similar to the headless horseman in the legends of Sleepy Hollow. The horseman has no head, no brain, no independent thought. This is similar to jihadi fighters, just blindly following and obeying Allah without an ounce of critical thinking. Another eerie parallel here between the horsemen and jihadis is that the horseman was beheaded by a cannonball in battle, and the Quran speaks of striking the necks of those who disbelieve when you meet them in battle. Both the Quran and Legends of Sleepy Hollow are tied to never-ending war and death. The rules of warfare are enough to make your skin crawl, especially if you try to place yourself in this moment in the 7th century, realizing Muhammad instructed people to do these things. Check out this part about the rules of warfare. It is not permissible to kill women or children unless they are fighting against the Muslims, nor is it permissible to kill animals unless they are being ridden into battle against the Muslims, or if killing them will help defeat the enemy. It is permissible to kill old men, meaning someone more than 40 years of age, and monks. Wow. It's not permissible to kill women or children unless they are fighting against the Muslims. My mind cannot even begin to wrap itself around the fact that women and children are allowed to be killed. There is something incredibly bone-chilling about that, the lack of regard for life. Listen to this next part about what can happen to captives of war. Whoever enters Islam before being captured may not be killed, or his property confiscated, or his young children taken captive. When a child or woman is taken captive, they become slaves by the fact of capture, and the woman's previous marriage is immediately annulled. When an adult male is taken captive, the caliph considers the interests of Islam and the Muslims and decides between the prisoner's death, slavery, release without paying anything, or ransoming himself in exchange for money or for a Muslim captive held by the enemy. If the prisoner becomes a Muslim before the caliph chooses any of the 4 alternatives, then he may not be killed, and one of the other 3 alternatives is chosen. Muslims are always trying to paint slavery as something that was done better under Muhammad than anyone else in the history of slavery. I mean, come on. Imagine being a woman or child and this is how your day ends. You go from living a free life to now being a slave to Muhammad and his mafia. If you're a married woman, well, your marriage is over and you have no rights or ownership over your own body. Your body belongs to the man, or the many men that will rape you over and over again. There's another section of this book about purification, and it talks about a scenario in which a woman says she has her period and her husband doesn't believe her. It says the following in this section about menstruation. If a woman claims to be having her period, but her husband does not believe her, it is lawful for him to have sexual intercourse with her. It's unfortunate for any woman who is taken captive by these men, because they not only have no right to their own bodies, but the man can have sex with her anyways if he doesn't believe her. Now, why would that have to be added to an Islamic fiqh book? Surely there is no such thing as a woman who hates her captor or husband and wants to avoid him like the plague. What about the men, though? The women are useful to the Muslims so they can get sex, but the men? Well, the men are the ones who fare pretty badly as well. In this section, the caliph is said to be the one who considers the interest of Islam and Muslims. Perhaps that particular battle or day, the interest is that you are of no worth or value to them, and now the Muslims are going to kill you. In conclusion, unlike scary stories from Goosebumps or Legends of Sleepy Hollow, Islamic law has a real fear factor to it, and that's why we work hard to bring videos like this into existence, to educate people about what's in the Islamic sources and how they can be applied under Islamic law. In many countries, the harsh punishments under Sharia are literally applied, such as stoning, flogging, and even capital punishment. If you like this video, give it a like and let me know what you think in the comments. If you have a spooky suggestion, drop it down below so I can consider it for this series. Also, don't forget to subscribe and join us on Patreon if you want to be part of our community. This is Mrs. Friendly Ex-Muslim signing out.